Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I think that by now we all know that the hottest spot on the front, in Ukrainian front, is Bakhmut. I think that we can all agree that that is the place where the armies are focused to one to expand, the other one to push back. And we still have idiots like our Lloyd Austin, who still claims that Bakhmut is just a symbolic town and it has no strategic importance. I have two articles here, one coming from, both of them are actually coming from the Ukrainian side, one from the Ukrainska Pravda, the other one from the Kiev Independent. One is telling us what the Russians are doing to Bakhmut right now, and the other one what this below 86 IQ bottom feeder, but he's not a bottom feeder, that's the problem, Lloyd Austin, the general, Lloyd Austin, tells us about how important or not important Bakhmut is. Again, with that guy, we're going to lose a war against, Tahiti. So let's go to, Jesus Christ, what do you expect? He was a CEO at Raytheon in the board of directors, wasn't he? So, yeah, okay. So, but he's a general. Ukrainska Pravda. Russians conduct 130 strikes on Ukrainian armed forces positions near Bakhmut in 24 hours. Well, maybe you tell me another location when this occurs. Well, just because the Russians are idiot and they like symbolism. Okay, and here is the idiot right here. Kiev Independent, U.S. Defense Secretary, Bakhmut, more of a symbolic than strategic value. This guy. With this guy, I don't feel safe. No, I don't want this guy as my... but he is, unfortunately. He's in charge of the military. This guy with Millie, another tard. Look at them. Look at this guy. Oh my God. I don't want this one. But he is. What can I say? That tells you something is wrong in a society when you have people like this that talk like that. Ukrainska Pravda. Russian troops have conducted 130 strikes on the positions of Ukrainian fighters on the Bakhmut front over the past 24 hours. And somehow they still have targets in Bakhmut, even after, the Ukrainians are not defending Bakhmut, because Bakhmut is just a, let's quote the idiot, symbolic value, okay? That's what he thinks, it's just symbolic. Okay, I would like to have more beer now, says Mr. Austin Powers. Serhiy Cherevati, spokesperson, I'm pretty much sure he's a man, spokesman for the Eastern grouping of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, reported this during the 24/7 newscast. Details. The program's host asked Cherevati to comment on the words of Oleksiy Syrsky, commander of the ground forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, who has recently said that the battles for Bakhmut had reached the highest intensity. The spokesman, now he's a spokesman, and here he was a spokesperson. Guys, be consistent. There is a spokesman. Of the Eastern grouping explained that Russia has now thrown its best units at Bakhmut and is concentrating artillery fire there as much as possible. Quote, in particular, during the past 24 hours, Russian forces conducted about 130 strikes using various artillery systems, such as tubed artillery and multiple launch rocket systems on our positions on the Bakhmut front. End quote. Cherevati clarified that the shelling was conducted in the areas of the settlements of Zaliznyazne, Dubovo-Vasilivka, and Orihovo-Vasilivka. Background. Colonel General Oleksiy Syrsky, commander of the ground forces of Armed Forces of Ukraine, visited the units defending the city of Bakhmut in Donetsk Oblast on March 5th and stated that the fighting for the city had reached its peak. You see, they say that this guy visited, past tense, something that started in the past, and ended in the past. That's a certainty. It's not might, could have been, allegedly. When these guys are talking these guys being the mass media in the West, talking about let's say Prigozhin, the chief of Wagner Group, or when they talk about Shoigu visiting the front lines, there is always allegedly, possibly, we verified and we found that actually he is just 5 miles away from where he says he is. Have you looked on the map on at Ukraine? If he's 5 miles away from where the fight is, but they're always like, oh, we identify, he's there but not there. But they never question the veridicity of their commanders being over there. And they're showed in the buildings, not outside, in rooms. A room can be in Kiev, in the basement. What are you talking about? I have a question. But they don't have to prove me. It's just a proof. They don't have to prove to me. It was just an observation. And look around. When you see these guys, the generals coming over there, usually they are on the front. They are right in Bakhmut. I don't think that guy was in Bakhmut. I don't think it met the threshold of reality of truth. It was just in a building. It was not in a building. In a building like in a basement. It could have been anywhere in New York City. But anyway, and the other guy, Prigozhin, is outside. I'm not defending that guy. He doesn't need to. He's got his own balls. I don't have to hold them for him. So he's outside with a background. And, he's not at the front. He's actually 2.5 miles away from the center of Bakhmut. He's not there. And he didn't even say he is in the center. They said he's not over there. Compared with the other one, catacombs hidden with a few guys over there. Just pay attention to these weasels. Let's see what this below 86 guy IQ here. So, U.S. Defense Secretary, Bakhmut more of a symbolic than strategic value. And those guys die over there like crazy on both sides. U.S. he said March that fell to Bakhmut, said on March 6th that the fall of Bakhmut would not be a significant setback for the Ukrainian military. Okay, that could be true. That could be true. But when you tell that that's a symbolic thing, I disagree with that. Otherwise, you wouldn't put that much effort to fight it. That means it's a symbol for you too. And I'm quoting, I think is more of a symbolic value than it is strategic and operational value. I don't think he knows what's going on over there. I don't think he understands what's going on the front, this guy. Austin, as cited by Reuters, told journalists during his trip to Jordan. According to Reuters, Austin did not specify if he thought when or if Bakhmut would fall, because he doesn't know. I'm just kidding, The Battle of Bakhmut, the city of Donetsk Oblast, we already know that one, and things are still ongoing. According to these guys that I don't believe in anymore, said that the Ukrainian forces are likely to conducting a limited tactical fighting, I add that for what I say, withdrawal in Bakhmut, and it's too early to tell if Ukraine is considering a complete withdrawal from the city, because they can't. I covered another article yesterday where they said it was the Ukrainian official who said it, that the Ukrainian army could not get out of Bakhmut more than 5 to 10 people, groups of 5 to 10 people, because they have only one little road they get out, and it's under Russian bombardment, shelling. So they go overnight. Now, if you have groups of 5 to 10 people, and those guys know that you're going over there, and they said it was about between 4,000 and 4,500 people, that's the word they used, people, in over there in Bakhmut. They don't specify it as military, still civilians, between 4,000 and 4,500. Now, if you calculate that, how many days you would have with a group of between 5 and 10 people to get out of Bakhmut, how many months it would take for the whole 4,500 people, let's put it this way, or 4,000, it is the same. I mean, the same because it really doesn't really matter. It's going to be 7 months and a half, or it's going to be 8 months and 3/4. Still, it's months. So anyway, this guys is, I'm very concerned with, I don't even want this country to get involved in a real thing with a real power. I'm not talking about, bottom-feeding countries with a rusty army. No, something like, Russia, or hey, China. And I don't talk about China over there. China everywhere. I don't want that to happen with these idiots. They already remember when they have that General Schwarzkopf in the Desert Storm. Do you remember how many people were over there? How many countries were over there? Do you remember that? And they were all happy what they did to Iraq. Iraq, let me break the news for you. There were about 20 million people population. 20. And it was alone, with no help whatsoever from anybody else, with rusty equipment. And on the other side was the mother of the whole coalition, NATO and all these guys. And they bombed the shit out of them. That's how they did it. Bomb, 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 bomb. And then they came over, Red Rover. And where was the general? Was on the field? Just check where Mr. Schwarzkopf. And when the whole thing, we beat the Iraqis. And after that, he got all kind of recognitions. For what? I could have won that war myself. I guarantee you, with all those forces and all those generals around me, and with and how do you call it, Iraqi army like that, I could have won the war with no problem. Probably even faster than he did. But anyway, who knows? That's a scenario, correct? And I can make a lot of scenarios, good or bad. In this case, yes, the Russians are still bombarding and shelling, hitting the Ukrainians in Bakhmut, and I don't know, it's a little bit too late for those guys to get out. And now it's a little in-war between Zelensky and Zaluzny about who ordered them to stay there and who ordered them to retreat. Interesting. And it seems like the mass media is covering for Zelensky. So I'm waiting for, what the hell, for Zaluzny to be dismissed soon, or some big... Why do you think I'm not ready? Just coffee. Milk and coffee. No wine. So it's an infight over there. I'm going to find out who's going to fall. I think it's going to be Zaluzny politically, Zelensky militarily. I'm going to cover that again in the next article, the next video with, I got some articles ready. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.